Happy Sunday, good peoples. What is up? It's your boy Dino's the fantasy guru. It is now week 6. If anybody's in the chat, let me know if the audio is good before I get started. How's my audio? Are we good before we get started? Got a lot to cover, and I want to get done before the noon kickoffs. As you know, there was another game over in London this morning. Jets and the Broncos. It's complete ass. I'm actually pissed off I got up to watch it. It was not worth my time. I believe the Broncos did hold on for the win. It might still be going on. I was getting ready for my stream, so obviously I wasn't paying too much to the game. I only had the Broncos defense going in my fantasy lineup. I believe they're going to go ahead and take care of business. I think we're good on the audio, so I'll go ahead and get started. All right. What I was saying was before I was rudely interrupted by my audio. All right. Bear with me, folks. There we go. So Thursday night, you had the Eagles and the Giants, and Cam Scadaboo's coming out party was this week. That had been building for the last few weeks. He was a sleeper in a lot of folks' drafts. If you were able to get him, you're now being rewarded. You're now being rewarded. And judging from what I've seen from the split duties between Devin Singletary and Tyrone Tracy Jr., I have a share of Tyrone Tracy Jr. and I won't after this week. He looks bad this year, and Scadaboo's Presley got that job locked. I think I said this 2 weeks ago that was going to happen. To go and get him if you can. It's too late to try to get him now. The price will be too high. You might want to wait until a little bit of regression. Jackson Dart did his thing again. He did get popped in the mouth, and I said he's doing an awful lot of running. Sooner or later, he's going to catch one, and he did. But Scadaboo, 3 touchdowns, and I happen to be going against him this week. So that person has a sizable lead going into the Sunday slate, but I'm not worried. Again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. That's just 1 week. I'm not sure if the Giants can sustain this type of output with their lack of wide receivers. Slayton didn't play, and as you know, Malik Neighbors is out for the season. But keeping with the theme of running backs, I guess the Commanders do listen to my show. They finally released Bill. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt had his coming out party as well. This is going back to week 5, going into week 6. And stop trolling out Rodriguez and what was that, fucking McNichols? Okay, so your best bet obviously is your running game with McLaurin still being hurt. Debo is a slash wide receiver running back. The Commanders need to change their whole identity on offense. You're not going to have the same passing as you did last season. They're going to have to almost deploy more or less a Jets type of offense, meaning your running back and your quarterback spearhead your offense. So in the world of fantasy, as you know, we're looking for touches. We're looking for targets. Those are the guys who are going to be handling the ball the most. A bit surprising also last week is Zach Ertz with a bagel. I didn't see that one coming, but I'll get more to him later on as I'll be talking about another tight end who is basically blown up fantasy rosters this season. But Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards total from scrimmage. This could be a sign of things to come. Hopefully he will be now going forward, as Scadaboo is in New York, getting the lion's share of the carries. He does have pass catching ability as well, so he's just not limited to a standard league. He's also valuable in a PPR standard. I know I'm going through these kind of quick because I still want to get through today's games. I did call this, and unfortunately, I could not find the clip where I said this on the No Balls, No Glory podcast that Joe Flacco will be traded to the Cincinnati Bengals after the shit show that Browning had displayed the last 3 weeks with Joe Burrow being out for the season. And as predicted, it happened. Joe Flacco stays in the state. He also stays in the division. And this week, he also plays a team that he's also beaten this year, the Green Bay Packers. So for those who were panicking that has Ja'Marr Chase, if you have Ja'Marr Chase, raise your hand. Me, this guy, I have him. You don't bench players like that, although you may be enticed to depending on the output. You just never know when these guys are going to go off. I know I mentioned him a few weeks ago about his production being limited and to temper expectations. Still temper expectations. I know Flacco has the deep ball, but he has a shitty offensive line, and he is a statue. He's a sitting target. He's not going to move. They don't have a running game. I wouldn't get too excited about this move. This move probably helps your other receivers for the Bengals more than it helps Ja'Marr Chase. It immensely helps T. Higgins. I know he was riding the pine on a lot of rosters. Eastwise should get some more targets, and Gesicki. Chase Brown, I don't see it happening. Besides the Bengals needing defense, I do think they need to go out and get another running back. I don't think Chase Brown is a top tier running back. He's more of a change of pace third down back. He cannot be the back that you are leaning on first and second down. Moving on. Emeka Egbuka. Now I have 3 shares of Emeka Egbuka, who's basically the front runner for the Rookie of the Year, as well as his quarterback, Baker Mayfield. Now, there's a lot of things to unpack here. The Buccaneers have a shit ton of injuries on offense. Evans, you got Godwin coming back from injury. You got Shepard, who's injury prone. Cade Otton finally showed up last week. Emeka Egbuka has capitalized on this and is basically the guy in Tampa Bay on a pretty high scoring offense. Rachaad White also chipped in last week with Bucky Irvin being out. I believe Bucky Irvin is out again this week. So if you're a Rachaad White owner, as I mentioned, he's going to eat because he catches the ball. Not only is he running it, he's catching it. And he's running determined because now he's got a chance to get more of that duty even when Bucky Irvin comes back. I believe that timeshare tilts. It's not going to be so heavily towards Bucky Irvin, but Emeka Egbuka, man, like the guy's already been hurt. He's played through injury. He runs deep routes. He runs underneath. He's basically what Puka Nacua was about 2 seasons ago. Came out of nowhere. Yeah, he had a little bit of run after the combine. You know, we knew he came from Ohio State, who was cranked out more wide receivers than Tennessee's cranked out running backs. But Emeka Egbuka, again, it is too late to get him if you don't have him on your rosters. It's going to cost you too much unless you could put together a sizable deal. It may take a 3-for-1. It may take a 3-for-1. Jackson Smith-Njigba is another receiver that's having a good season, similar to Egbuka, who also went to Ohio State, who I also have several shares of. Moving on, as I mentioned earlier, Zach Ertz threw up a bagel this week, amongst amongst a slew of tight ends who have been very disappointing this fantasy season. I'm for one of quite disappointed because I had several shares of Brock Bowers, as I'm sure many of you have. Many of you have probably taken Brock Bowers very early in your drafts and you expected wide receiver production from the tight end. We have yet to see it. He has no touchdowns. He has one 100-yard game, and I understand he's going through an injury. But no one saw this shit coming with Geno Smith. Geno Smith has reverted back to the Jets version of Geno Smith, which is complete dumpster fire. He looks terrible. I believe the game has passed old Petey Wheatstraw by. If you don't know who that is Pete Carroll, the head coach of the Raiders. They have no identity. They have this stud back that they can't do anything with because their offense is so shit. They have a complete animal on defense that they paid, who's basically out there by himself. I don't know how long the Raiders can keep either of these players. I believe somebody's going to get traded in the Raiders. Either it's going to be a trade or somebody's going to get fired. Not to mention the other tight end that they drafted a year before, Mayer from Notre Dame, who's been out with a concussion and oft injured. So the Raiders are just a complete land fire, dumpster fire, just fucking nuclear, napalm, claymore, landmine, whatever explodes, that's the Raiders. And Brock Bowers single-handedly is destroying fantasy rosters at this stage of the game going into week 6. If you're looking for a fill-in for Brock Bowers, I have a few in mind if they're still available. I took a flyer on AJ Barner from the Seahawks. The Seahawks offense has been moving pretty well under Darnold. I know Jackson Smith-Njigba is there, as well as Cooper Kupp, but Barner, I know he's touchdown dependent, so don't expect a lot of receptions. But like I said, he could fall in the end zone a couple times and be a great fill-in for Brock Bowers. We have no clue how long he's going to be out. So keep that in mind. If you can go and snatch the tight end, look for Cade Otton if he's still available. I know a lot of people dropped him because he was off to such a slow start, but I will go ahead and scoop him up now before he takes off because then he won't be available. So enough about these damn tight ends. Pause. Now I gotta say where I was wrong because nobody's right ever in fantasy. We're all just making educated guesses. So pity on me about Woody Marks. Now where I was right is he was the number 1 waiver wire get for that week. Where I was wrong was the usage was ass. Even though the Texans got the blowout win against the Ravens, which I said, and CJ Stroud had his best game of the year, which I also said, I did not see Woody Marks barely. I think he had 14 carries, which is horrible, being that the game was a blowout. At minimum, in a blowout, you figured he'd at least have 18 to 20 carries. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with my Texans. As far as the backfield is concerned, I will tell you, if you are a Joe Mixon owner, just drop him. I don't believe he's going to play this season. The front office from the Texans are playing a little gamesmanship right now. I don't believe Joe Mixon plays this season. So if he's sucking up one of your IR spots, I would drop his ass because these injuries are coming like flies on shit, and you're going to need that spot for another player. So get rid of Joe Mixon. Woody Marks, hopefully better days are ahead. My bad. So let's go over the weekly slate here. Let me switch my screen around here. Bear with me, folks. Move that on out the way. Still working on these smoother transitions. Let's see if this is the right file. Okay, let's get rid of that. All right, there we go. So today's slate, where we at? We got about 15 minutes. We're going to run through this pretty quick, folks. Let's run through this pretty quick. No need to recap the Thursday game. I'm sure you all saw that. This was the Cam Scatterboo coming out party. To note, Dallas Goedert had a monster game. This is the second week in a row. Philly has problems. Saquon Barkley, damn it, man. I was hoping it wouldn't happen, but history has shown us that running backs that have breakout seasons, historic seasons, regress the following season. And the same holds true with Saquon Barkley. We have the Broncos and the Jets. I stopped watching that shit. I'm mad I got up and watched the first half, but I believe Denver is going to hang on for the win in a very disgusting game for fantasy. We have the Chargers and the Dolphins. The Chargers are just a frustrating team, and even more frustrating now is the backfield situation. The Chargers, I don't believe, even picked up another running back. They may have elevated Kamani Vidal, which is another get. If you still have time to add him to your roster, I would. I believe he's the better play than Hassan Haskins, who looks very slow and methodical. Another surprising move is I thought for sure that the Gus Bus would be back with the Chargers, and they opted to keep what they have. The Dolphins, again, Waller is probably going to have another good day. Jalen Waddle, who I still don't think is a surefire number one, also had a somewhat reasonable day. Moving on, we have the Saints and Patriots. Drake May upset the Bills last week, but we are fantasy here. We're not about wins and losses. And he had 0 touchdowns, and not quite sure to make of that. Maybe that was part of the game plan. Fucking Ramondre Stevenson with 2 touchdowns, vulturing more points from TreVeyon Henderson. Maybe this is the week we see TreVeyon Henderson. As you watched the beginning of the show, I outlined Cam Scatterboo and Bill Prosky Merritt had their coming out party. So hopefully this week it's TreVeyon's turn. Moving on, we got the Browns and the Steelers. Jaylen Warren is returned from injury. However, Kenneth Gainwell looked very good filling in during his injury last week. So if Gainwell is still available, that's a sneaky play. I would keep him on the bench. I didn't believe Jaylen Warren will be able to hold up for a full season because he's never been the guy for a full season. And like I said, he's already had an injury. Gainwell is a serviceable back. He's bounced around for a few teams. He's damn near entering the fantasy zombie land. Not quite, but almost. I would pick up Gainwell if you can. As far as Cleveland's concerned, this is second start for Dillon Gabriel. Again, he doesn't throw the ball down the field. Don't expect a lot of numbers from him. What you want from Cleveland is Judkins. If you don't get Judkins, then you want one of the 2 tight ends, Fannin or Njoku. That's what you want from those 2. Moving on, we have Carolina and the Cowboys. Rico Dowdle gets to start again in place of Chuba Hubbard. No, he's not going to have another 200-yard game. I'd put money on it, but I don't have any. The Cowboys defense is still ass, but they have an insane offense. Miles Sanders is out for the season, so Jadon Blue will finally get to make his co-star appearance, hopefully this week, and we get to see what's what. I did add a few shares of him in my fantasy leagues because I wanted a piece of that offense. That's some things to consider when you're picking up players, not necessarily their individual output. Look at the team's output. If it's an explosive offense, you just want to have a piece of it. Because like I said, these injuries are coming left and right. You never know. You pick up a guy next week, he's starting, right? So get Jadon Blue if you can on your rosters. He is now the number 2 backup behind Javonte Williams. Next game is Seattle and Jacksonville. Jacksonville with the upset of the Chiefs last week and the most fucking staged WWE play I've ever seen in my life, but we'll talk about that another time. ETN kind of came back to earth a bit in that game, but it's going against a pretty good Chiefs defense. Rashard Smith, as I mentioned, like Jaden Blue, Rashard Smith is another sneaky get. His role is increasing. Pacheco has been fucking ass this year, and I know a lot of people are afraid to drop him just because he's in the Chiefs offense and they typically move the ball and score, but he's just a guy, folks. I know he runs hard, he's mad at the ground, but from what I've seen, he's just another guy. I went out and picked up Kareem Hunt because they trust Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt runs hard. Kareem Hunt scores touchdowns, and Kareem Hunt catches the fucking ball. which Pacheco doesn't. So, Rashard Smith, Kareem Hunt, another two targets you want to keep on your radar for pickups. Moving on, we have the Rams and the Ravens, who are more like pigeons of late. Shout out to the Flock Nation. If you have Matthew Stafford on your roster and you don't start him this week, please smack yourself. I'm going to say this even before the game starts. Now, the problem with games that are going to be lopsided, the blowouts, if they get out to a giant lead, there's a chance he won't even play in the fourth quarter. He might only play 3 quarters, and he might finish with like 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's the risk, right? But you can't not be in that game with that quarterback going against that defense the way they're playing. Play Matthew Stafford this week. I have Matthew Stafford in 2 leagues, and I played him over Jake Daniels, and I played him over Jalen Hurts. Let's see if it plays out. I think it will. No need to talk about anybody for the Ravens. The only thing I would say is I want to see who has the balls to bench Derrick Henry. Who has the kahunas to put Derrick Henry on your bench? I know a lot of people are afraid to do that because at any moment he can break one, but it might be something to consider at this point of the season. Derrick Henry might be riding the pine for a few weeks, at least until Lamar Jackson comes back. All right, what we got? 6 minutes? All right, we got 6 more games to go. Tennessee and Vegas. No need to talk about Vegas. They're shit. Tennessee, Cam Ward and Ridley may have found some rhythm. I know people drop Ridley widely across a lot of leagues. That's another get. Again, you're planning for later down the line. If Ridley is still available, I would go and scoop him up. Not necessarily start him, put him on your bench, and just kind of monitor. Just monitor the target rate. Don't look at his yards, don't look at his output. Look at the targets. Look at how many opportunities he's getting. And then you can base your decision off of that particular metrics. Next game, Bengals and the Packers. Again, Joe Flacco makes his first start with the Bengals, and he gets to play Green Bay again. However, I don't think he wins this game as he did earlier with the Browns. The Browns have a very, very good defense. The Bengals have a very, very bad defense. The Packers look to rebound after their shitty performance post the bye week. Christian Watson, another wide receiver who's been out all season that you could possibly pick up and put on your IR. He should be coming back shortly. Another thing to note, Josh Jacobs, I believe, is going to have a monster game today. An absolute monster game today. I think Jacobs has a Cam Scatterboo-esque day today. Something to keep in mind. I like to take long shots, but I don't think that's a long shot. You could almost take that to the bank. But anywho, 4 more games left on the slate. We got San Francisco at Tampa Bay. Emeka Ibuka. It's going to be a lot of Ibuka today. I know the Frisco's defense is a little bit better than they have been. Christian McCaffrey, he's not injured, folks. He's still out there. He's still racking up fantasy points. He's ass on the ground. He's getting most of his points through the air. Does it matter? Not really, as long as he's getting the points and he's getting the targets. So it's going to be another Christian McCaffrey day. That's going to be their biggest weapon. George Kittle is still out. Not sure when he returns. Maybe after their bye week, he should be back. Moving on, this is going to be the game of the week. Lions and Chiefs. This game could go either way. It could be a low-scoring game or it could be a shootout. I'm not quite sure what to make of this game. Again, the key players are going to be Gibbs, St. Brown, Mahomes, and who else for the Chiefs besides maybe, Rashee Rice isn't back until week 7, so he's not back yet. I don't want to say Kelsey, but I got a sneaky hunch that Kelsey's gonna show up, because it's a night game. It's a Sunday night game. The lights are on. He likes the attention. The Chiefs are used to it. I just feel like Kelsey, as bad as he's looked, I feel like Kelsey's gonna show up tonight. if I was going to do a spot start in my fantasy lineup for Kelsey this week, this would be the week to do it. All right. Again, damn it, NFL, stop doing 2 Monday night games, especially when they're on at the same fucking time. This is ridiculous. But we have the Bills and the Falcons. I believe this is going to be another shootout. The Bills did lose their last game to the Patriots. So Josh Allen is going to be out to make amends. I think James Cook has a monster game in this one. Not quite sure yet to make a Penix. Again, this is his first actual full season, and you see the inconsistencies in his play and output. Bijan is going to Bijan. He definitely cuts the mustard. That's not a pun. Expect a lot of points in this matchup. And our final matchup of the week is the Bears and the Commanders. So we got Caleb versus Jaden. This is actually going to be a really good game, and I'm going to lose some sleep staying up to watch it. Probably won't be much defense. The Commanders defense is a tick better than the Bears defense, but I would say that Bears offense is a tick better than the Commanders offense. So what does all that mean? A lot of points for fantasy. So if you have anybody playing in that Monday night game, get them in your lineup. There should be a lot of points scored. I did mention Zach Ertz with the bagel. I don't anticipate that happening. I believe Zach Ertz contributes Monday evening in that particular game. And look at this time. It is 11:59. It is 1 minute to kickoff. Good luck, everybody, today. Hope you got your provisions ready for a long Sunday. I know this is about 16 hours of football for me today, starting from 8:30 a.m. to about 11 p.m. So buckle up. Sorry, I did miss a question in the chat. The question was who to start? Golden, Maserati Mark, or Ridley? I wouldn't touch Golden. I just haven't seen enough yet. And again, with those Packers receivers, you're playing whack-a-mole. You never know who's going to go off. Like 1 week it could be Dobbs, another week it could be Wicks, right? Another week it could be the fucking Tucker. You know, you just never know. It's too many variables in that offense. Ridley, again, I said earlier, just kind of monitor his target rate. I know he's going against the Raiders defense. That's going to be an ugly game, in my opinion. So I would actually go with Maserati Marv. Now, Kyler Murray is on the injury report, so keep an eye out on that and make sure that Murray is indeed playing today. And let's get rid of this shit so you guys can see. There we go. I would keep an eye on the injury report and make sure that Murray is actually in the lineup. It sucks because that's probably the late game, so you probably need to make a decision sooner or later. But I would go with Maserati Marv in that situation. Thank you for the question. But that's it for me, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Happy Sunday, everybody. It is week 6. Let's go. Comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for joining, and I will see you. Oh, shit. Where is it? Show it. There it is. Comment, like, subscribe. Thanks for joining, and I'll holler at y'all next time. Peace.